Guys, in this video we're going to discuss the network tab. Okay, so what happens when you refresh the page? So let's try refreshing the page. So if you go to the network tab, you can see all the requests made on your site, like who called those requests, how long it was. Now the x-axis, which is this one, okay, is the time the request took to complete each of the bars. Okay, so you can see that this request, which is the main request, is for the HTML document. It tells you how much time it took this is the time in milliseconds. Okay, and each of these bars represent a request. Okay, now let me explain to you as to what these are. So first of all is this one. So these are called waterfalls. Okay, so whenever a page is loaded, the first thing that's loaded is the HTML page. Okay, so which is this one, and then there is status. Status is the HTTP response code. Then you have type. Type tells you the type of the document. So if I just refresh it once again, so you can see that this is the document. Okay, then this is style sheet. This is super.css, index.js. Okay, so these are all of that. These are type of the file requests. Okay, now let's see. Now what is this initiator? Okay, so initiator tells you who's the initiator of this request. For example, if script A calls script B inside of it, then script A is the initiator of the script B request rather than the HTML. Okay, so if you hold the shift key, let's say I hold the shift key here, and then if you hover over it, so this particular request is initiated by test project. Okay, and then if I hover over the test project while the shift key is pressed, then it tells me that all of the other requests like foundation, flex CSS, super.css, index.js, all of these originate from test project. So it's a pretty cool feature to understand where they are originating from, and they are executing in the same order as they were defined in. So if I go to index.php, you can see that I have first I have the document, then I have this foundation, flex CSS being included, then I have the super.css, then I have the index.js, which is at the bottom. Okay, and then icon and all of that stuff going on there. Okay, all right, so next is the size. Okay, the first size value, which is this one, it tells you the actual size of the file, and the second one, which is this one, tells you the compressed size in case if you have any cached ones. Okay, and then the next thing is the time. So it is telling you the time that tells you the time it took to complete that request. This is for the main size, and this probably for the cached one. Okay, or the compressed one. Okay, and then you have the waterfall, and if you hover over the waterfall like this, you can see the detail of this request. This information that you see in the network tab tells you why your request is slow. For example, if the size of your file is big, or if there are a large number of requests that are being made, or if there is a server issue, or the request is coming from two different sources. So all of that information. If you want to see what each of these terms means, you can click on explanation, and it will explain to you what they are. So you can scroll down. They have different colors also. So first is queuing. Okay, so queuing is basically to make you understand that the browser can accept maximum six requests at a time. So you can see this queuing. Okay, so it can accept maximum 6 requests and in one time. If there are more than 6 requests, then it dispatches the 6 and puts the rest of them in a queue. Okay, hence it's recommended to bundle your CSS or JS file into one to avoid this queuing, because if you have large number of if you have many JavaScript and CSS file being included, then 6 of them will be dispatched at once, and the rest of them will go in queue, which will take a longer time. So it's better to bundle them up. Generally, if you're using Webpack, it does bundle your files and give you a one file like main.js, and takes care of that problem. Then the next thing is stalled or blocking, which is this one. If you hover over it, you have stalled this. Okay. So what is stalled? Stalled or blocking are like blankets over queuing. The request in stalled or blocking are the ones which hasn't been sent to the server yet or in the queue. The reason it may be waiting is because the time that is spent in proxy negotiation. So that's probably the reason why it's not been sent yet, and those go in the stalled. Okay. Then you have a proxy negotiation. Okay, I will explain to you DNS lookup in a moment. Okay, so then you have the proxy negotiation, and it describes the time spent in negotiating with the proxy server connection. The request has been sent. So it's basically the time in the negotiation with the proxy server connection. Okay, and then you have the DNS lookup. So currently it's not showing over here, the DNS lookup. But in case if you're accessing the site for the first time, then probably it will. Why? Because the DNS lookup is the time spent here for DNS lookup. For example, what IP address is behind this request. DNS lookup also caches information, so it takes time to check the DNS lookup for the first time, and the next time you visit it, then it uses the same cached value, which is why probably, first of all, it's a local environment. Okay, so probably it would show that in the live environment. Okay, but the first time you might see it, but next time it may use the cached value. Okay. All right. Then you have, let's see. What we got? Sorry about that. I think we do have a DNS lookup even in the local one. Okay, so this is a DNS lookup. Then we have something called initial connection, which is basically the time took to establish connection, including the TCP handshake and negotiating with SSL. Okay. Then you have waiting, which is this. So time to first byte. TTFB means time to first byte. Okay. So waiting is the time spent in doing. Is the time spent for initial response, time for first byte, which means the time the server took to prepare the response. And if you see a higher waiting time here, that means there could be a problem with backend or endpoint. Sometimes your initial page has a database query that is taking a long time. So in case if you see this time, which is quite long, then you probably might want to check your backend as to if you are fetching any data that is taking a long time. Okay, so that's usually for backend. All right, and then you have the content download. So content download or downloading is basically the time spent to receive the response data. If your script file is really big, it can take more time to download. Sometimes if you are testing locally or on a fast connection, it might show less time for downloading the script, the content download. However, for someone else with a slow connection, it may take a longer time. Okay. All right, guys. So this information is pretty useful. If you want to preserve all this information, you can click on preserve logs. So next time you refresh the page, this information will stay there. Okay. And if it's an AJAX request, then you can click on response, preview, all the information will show over there. Since I don't have any AJAX request, it's not showing anything. Okay. You can also click on disable cache, so it will not store it from the cache memory. Okay. And all right, this, if you want to narrow it down, if you want to only see JavaScript requests, you can click on JS. And then if you want to see only the CSS requests, you can click on CSS. Okay. And if I'm not wrong, XHR is for fetch or AJAX requests. Currently, I don't have any. And that's for all. Okay. Great, guys. So if you did like the video, please do share my video, subscribe to my channel, and like and comment. And if you have any questions, you can leave in the comment box. And I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.